Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is going to be the DCIM Tim channel. You're probably wondering, okay, your name is probably Tim, but what's DCIM stand for? So DCIM stands for Data Center Infrastructure Manager, or better known as Controls Engineer, or you may hear me referred to as DCIM Engineer. So what does all that mean? So basically, I work at a campus that has multiple data centers, and it is my job to manage the SCADA platform for each individual data center. So, me and my coworker currently manage four of them. And so, yes, that's four data centers, and these things are monstrous. Monstrous. They're huge. But I love it. I love controls. So data center management or a DCIM engineer is a very fun role to me. I just love controls in general. Just a little bit of background about me. So I'm a Navy veteran, so I served in the Navy for 6 years. I was a submarine nuclear electrician, so any nukes out there, thank you for your service. I did that for 6 years as an electrician's mate. And then after my Navy service, I got out and I was a six and outer. Any nuke could understand that, but basically I did just 6 years and I was done. And the Navy for a nuke, you can extend and to get more money and do like 8 years. But I was like, I just want to serve my country, do my time, and just call it a day. So I did that for 6 years, and then I got out the military, and because I was just a six and out nuke with no college degree, which is not a bad thing. Anyone does that. When you get out the military, LinkedIn, you're a commodity, let me tell you. Bradley Morris, Orion, all these different companies that are like pretty much their whole job is to help veterans get people separate and get jobs when they get out. A lot of those jobs are field service engineering, which those aren't bad. They're usually, especially if you're single, they're just high travel jobs, and you're just using your electrical and mechanical skills that you learned in the Navy to just fix different types of equipment. So for me, it was working on X-ray machines, metal detectors, and then some medical gear. So I did that for a couple years, and then wife convinced me, I probably should start going to college. Have a GI Bill. So I started going to college in 2019 as started going to school for electrical and computer engineering. So I started that. That was a very tough degree. I just finished October of 2020. Or no, yeah, October of 2024. So I recently finished. So thank goodness. But after I started going to school, I still needed to work. So I actually started working for Amazon as a maintenance technician or RME technician. I did that. I think they still call it that. Did that for a little while, and then I was doing so well I suppose I got the controls team got their eyes on me, and they were like, "Hey man, you really should." They found out like you know more than you think, and like you're also going to college. Or, like you really should apply for controls. At this point, I knew nothing of controls. All I knew was electrical, um, electrical skills learned in the Navy, just basic AC/DC, principal motors, generators, like just Navy A school type stuff. Um, but yeah, so I applied for controls and they said, yep, had a good interview, and then I started my journey in controls, and that was a lot. Controls is just a lot in general. And controls is also such a broad term because you have controls everywhere. You have controls in your house. You have industrial controls. You have controls at Amazon fulfillment centers. You have, control all the sorting equipment. You have controls in your house. They control the HVAC, your furnace. They control your AC units. You have controls in data centers, right? You have controls to control the HVAC equipment there, and then you have things like EPMS. You need to monitor your electric plant, so and a SCADA platform. So it's a lot. But it was a great journey to start there. I had a really great team I worked with. I really got my career going, and then after a little while of that, it was time for me to move on, and I actually landed a job with my current company as a DCIM engineer. So why I'm making this channel is because in September 2023, when I accepted this job as a DCIM engineer, I all I had to go off of was a job description. Because I looked up on YouTube, I looked up on Google, like, hey, can someone explain to me what is a DCIM do? Like, what's their day-to-day like? What is a DCIM? What's it like? I couldn't find anything. And this was like 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. Couldn't find anything. And so for me, this is kind of like paying it back forward of like, okay, I didn't have this when I was looking for a job. And so, and I think a lot of people would love control engineering. If you just love control stuff, I want to like give people just an inside view and try to give them some fun foundational knowledge and tips and things that they can work on if they don't already have the skills, get the skills. So when they do interview for any kind of data center engineer job, they kind of have a good background, a good foundation, or when they get the job, they at least have some kind of what to expect type thing. So that's the point of the channel. So on this channel, we'll talk about like these intro channels be more. This video is more just like introducing who I am, what the channel is going to be about. But the future video is going to be more like talking about okay, this is what EPMS is. This is what BMS is. Let's talk about what Modbus is. Let's talk about okay, here's like real life problems I solved this week, how I did it step by step. So like I think that kind of stuff really makes it people understand like this is what I do day to day, and then talk about like the stuff I don't like doing, but respectfully, of course. So that's the point of what I want this channel to be, and I'm really excited for you guys to be here. I don't want this video to be too long, um, but yes. But also, I want to get into why should you be a data center controls engineer in decentral. Data centers are coming everywhere. If you live in Virginia, you've seen them. If you live in Georgia, you've seen them. If you lived in Phoenix, you've seen them. Like they are just popping up everywhere. I mean, it is insane. If you go to like Ashburn, Virginia, for example, there's things called like Data Center Alley or something. I went there for something, and I was just like, these are you can just drive along the street, and there's just data centers on left hand, right side of the road. It's crazy. This is industry. So according to Statistica.com, by the year 2025, the estimated market cap for the data center market is going to be almost $150 billion. That is how much money is going to these things, and they're building them bigger and faster. And it's just, I mean, you can see that like day one, like you see the projections, like they'll say they're starting to pour concrete on like one day. 11 months later, they're already testing the building as if it's already done. And so it's really crazy to watch. If you're not into controls engineering, if you there's also just construction. There's guys working all the time. They need skilled tradespeople. So if you're like an electrician, mechanic, have HVAC skills, and you just love construction type work, HVAC environments, or construction environments, and you're good with HVAC, plumbing, electrical work, you can make some money in those jobs because those guys are working overtime all the time. I mean, I don't know about quality of life. I mean, these guys work a lot. If you're an integration, that's big. Those guys are in high demand too. If you're an integrator, so it's just a lot of jobs come with building data centers. So definitely get into that. But yeah, you should invest in it. I think if you just like, if you're good with PLCs, if you like SCADA platforms, if you like networking kind of stuff, if you like embedded programming, it's a lot of that. If you're have basic concepts of object-oriented programming, that's really good to know. If you love hardware, I'm a hardware guy. Of course, my degree is in electrical computing engineering, so I just love hardware. Software is like what it is. I don't mind coding, but if I can just sit with a gateway, I think I have one somewhere in my house. But I love messing with gateways and programming them, and figuring out how they work, figuring out what ports open on it, and stuff like that. But yes, and one distinction I need to make right now. If you don't know what integration is like trying to take devices in the field and putting them into a SCADA platform. So as a DCIM engineer, at least for my company, it's different than integration. So you're going to work with integrators to get a lot of your work done. So like, for example, like when a data center is coming up, I'm not programming all the PLCs. I'm not sitting there programming all the gateways. I'm not configuring everything in our different applications and in our SCADA platform. A lot of it's vendor management. I think that's something I need you guys to understand. Because at the rate that these buildings are coming up and how fast and I mean, I managed 4 buildings alone. You don't have the capacity or the time to do all that kind of work. You need people that are dedicated every day. That's their job to do. So a lot of your job is going to be like project management in a sense. and vendor management. That is like a big thing I wanted to like emphasize because I thought, me personally, that like I would do more integration work in a massive scale, and that's just not the case. I do integration work like for smaller type things for my specific data centers after they're turned over. So basically, like when a data center is getting built, like a decent engineer is there to make sure that the building, the control scheme is good, right? The architecture is fine, and you're as the integrators are putting in the control scheme and everything. As that goes along, there's different testing has to go through. You have to go. You're involved in that. There's hardware testing. There's like their own PLC code you have to review and things like that. But once that gets implemented, once it's in the building, then it all gets tested and commissioned, and the data center gets turned over to my company, and then people move in and things like that. And then we're in control of the space or of the data center. But once it gets turned over to me, that's when I do a lot more of that kind of work. But it's not like I'm bringing in like a whole section of another data center. So I just want to make sure it's understood. This is more of a vendor management job, project management job. You identify problems, and if you have the capacity to fix them on your own, if you have the time, you can do it yourself. If you don't, you have to partner with like different vendors to get stuff done. So I just want to make that distinction. But I'm so excited for you guys to be here. I make a lot of shorts talking about just like different aspects of controls, but these YouTube videos would be just like longer, talking about more specific topics. So if you are aspiring data center controls engineer, I just want to tell you, like, you can do it. It's a booming field. It seems daunting if you don't know what SCADA is or EPMS, BMS, but like any controls job you do, I'll tell you right now, you have to be able to be self-disciplined and teach yourself a lot of stuff. Read books, read manuals, and ask a lot of questions. But you can do it, and I hope you guys keep watching the videos.